This is the easiest level, and this is the hardest. Today we're taking a look at these ones and all the ones in between, just to really see if the hardest is really the hardest. Hanayama has dozens of metal puzzles, and to learn more you can just check out my other videos. I find these ones most representative of their level, which is why I chose them. Oh, and if you like this kind of video, just make sure to like it and I'll make more of them. Let's start with the first one. So this first one's called Cast Loop, and I think it's meant for kids, or people with really low IQ. The trick behind this one isn't actually taking it apart, as that's pretty simple and straightforward, but it's putting it back together. That seems to be a common theme for these Hanayama puzzles, which is why aside from this one, I'm just going to show you how to disassemble it. If you'd like to reassemble any of these or see how that is, you can check out my other videos. So that should give you a taste of what the easiest ones are like. So the next one in level 2 is the Cast Dot. This one definitely looks a little better, but don't let looks deceive you. As easy as this one looks and seems, it can be kind of difficult. Here we have to hop the silver piece up and kind of at an angle, and for the rest we're going to be maneuvering this black piece. So after you fiddle with it for a little bit, and probably only a couple minutes, you'll realize you just need to move the black piece down and then down in the other direction. And just after that, just rotate and you should be able to pull them apart no problem. Yet again, for this one, putting it back together is much more difficult than taking it apart, but I would still say this one's more difficult than the previous one. Next up, we have the Cast Galaxy. This one has 4 pieces that all connect to each other in the middle, and there's a couple cool moves to figure this one out, but it's actually hard to get there. Once you do figure out what needs to happen, all you have to do is move the pieces around until you get that to happen, and then everything just falls right apart. And I would still say that's more difficult than the previous one. Next up is the Cast Hexagon, and this one is by far the most pretty in all these 6 puzzles. The idea here is to separate the silver pieces from the black piece, but it's much more difficult than you'd think. As you can see, these silver pieces have the same look on the outside, but once you get them apart, you see the inside looks much different. So what we're trying to do right now is get this top silver piece to occupy the least amount of space as possible, so it actually makes a shape from which one of our other shapes can leave. We also have to move the piece that looks like a duck to also occupy the least amount of space as possible. And the next part is the trickiest, as the left is on the bottom right now and the right is on the top. We have to switch those around so the right is on the bottom and the left is on top. Once we have this, we have to move the bottom piece so it occupies the least amount of space yet again, and then move the duck piece all the way around so that it goes right into that shape and it falls out. And the last piece is pretty straightforward, and I definitely say this was harder than the last. Next up is the Cast Laby, and it is a double-sided maze, but that's not it. On the one piece is 2 mazes, and on the other piece is 2 pegs, one for the top maze and one for the bottom maze. And if that's not enough mazes for you, about halfway through, the one peg has to leave the maze and re-enter a new maze, so I'll show you what that's like. The main strategy for this one is to do the maze on the top, and as soon as it gets locked up, flip it over and unlock it at the back, and then flip it back over and continue on to see how far you can go. And as we're going through the maze, we see these little ridges on the outside, and that's the part where these pegs are supposed to fit through, but the circle actually gets locked up, so we have to rotate it 180 degrees, and we do this by putting it back inside the maze and then twisting. Doing that in the right spot allows the pegs to move freely in the maze. After that, we skip the peg out of the old maze and into the new one. This one is a little easier, mainly just because the maze itself is shorter, but we can still have parts where the bottom part gets locked up, and instead of just turning it over, we can wiggle it out and see what happens. I would definitely say this one's harder than the last one, but let's take a look at the Grandmaster and see how it matches up. This one is called the Cast News. It is a Grandmaster puzzle, which means it should be the hardest one out of all of them today. For this one, you need to know 2 things. The first thing is you need to spin it, and I'll show you why. The second is that you need to lift it over north and south and give it a spin again, and yet again I'll show you why. Once disassembled, you can see these black rods going through the middles. If you look a little closer, you can see them go back inside after we give it a spin. Now if we do that to both of them, we need to rotate the one on its side so that the rods don't come back out. So I guess the trick here is that you can't know how to solve it until you've solved it. And I'm sure that's why this one makes a perfect Grandmaster puzzle. And that is the end of this batch for Hanayama puzzles. Like the video if you did, and let me know if these rankings measure up. If you want to get a headache and check out their hardest puzzle, take a look at the hourglass video. If not, that's cool too. See ya.